on Kane. It's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show and another episode of The Final Word. We've got regulars, we've got new debutants and returnees tonight, so we're absolutely buzzing. I'm excited for tonight's show. We've got Kev joining us from Leeds House and, of course, Not Another Leeds pod. Kev, how you doing, mate? All right?
Good, mate. Thanks for asking. You?
Yeah, I'm really good, man. Really good. I watched, and obviously Ipswich. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. But I don't know if you know this, right? But I worked out earlier, all this talk of Ipswich and Southampton. If we beat Norwich on Wednesday, we then play Bristol City on the Friday. So by Friday the 2nd, we could be second before they play on the 3rd. So all this talk of us being, we might actually be second in 2 games' time. So it's not. Listen, there's a long way to go. I'm absolutely really buzzing about all that. And, of course, we've got the returning Rocco, the jet setter, busy guy, the writer, the podcaster extraordinaire. Rocco, it's great to have you back, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, Ty. Yeah, well, nearly a jet setter, but my plane couldn't get off the ground this morning, so I'm in Hull at the moment.
That's jet setting. That's jet setting.
But I'll tell you what, my day started well because my taxi driver recognised me from my appearances on the Just Joe football show.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So if he's watching tonight, hello to you.
Yeah, that's brilliant, man. Did he give you a discount?
No, I tipped him though for being a customer of yours.
Well, there you go, mate. Whoever you are, if you're watching, you should have given me a fucking discount. Luke, you had a nice little jaunt away at the weekend. How are you feeling, mate? Are you doing good?
Yeah, just about back sort of with it. To be fair, I've been mentally numb for the last 2 or 3 days. So just nice to get sort of back in the real world, I think.
Yeah, of course, man, of course. And the real world, Luke, came with another 3 points and a poetic 3 points, as the title says, because watching the game and I was so annoyed throughout. I think there was a moment in the second half where it just switched, and then from then on, it just felt like a massive injustice because of all the chances that we were missing and the dirtiness of Preston. I was just thinking, this is just not fair. It's not fair. But for them to get a penalty, it was poetic. Obviously, Pirro finds the back of the net beautifully as well, mate. What are your initial takeaways from the 3 points at Ellen Road?
So it was a tough old game, wasn't it? You know, they set out to set up and spoil. They didn't really come to play any football. I didn't feel they were just sort of, you know, they were slowing play down. They had the goalkeeper go down to waste a bit of time. It was perfectly fine. It was very, very, very much an old man's performance from Preston, which you'd expect from Lloyd. He's a bit of a bell, isn't he? So, I didn't enjoy the game that much. I enjoyed the result. I enjoyed getting the result at the end, but it wasn't us at our best. I didn't feel. And credit to Preston, they came to do a job on us, and they almost came away with what they came for, which was a point. So look, you've got to, when you're still not playing well and getting results against a relatively good Preston side, we neutralised their best attacking options in the majority as well. In what's his name, Miller on the wing. Archie sort of turned that first performance around, because I think that was Archie's worst game for us, to be fair. Away at Preston on Boxing Day. He had some making up to do, and I thought he did well. But yeah, I mean, all in all, mate, happy to come away with the 3 points. But sign of a good team is one that can still win when they're not playing too well. And when they come up against teams like that, I think earlier in the season we would have probably drawn or lost that game.
Yeah. I think, Kevin, that was the thing for me yesterday. I said, you can't you can't batter teams every week, but this is another like string to the bow of Farke's Leeds now to know that they've come through a game that looked like we weren't going to win. And like Luke said earlier on in the season, we don't win. We've now come out of the other side of that. You know what I mean? So that can only be a positive, right?
I think so. I really enjoyed yesterday's win, how crap the game was and how bitty and how foul it was. I was more proud of us winning yesterday than I was hammering Ipswich just before Christmas because, again, like you just said there, we would have lost that game or drew that game at the start of the year. So it just makes me feel better to know that we can grind out results against these teams that are going to put any sort of performances against us. And we're going to get that a lot towards the end of this, coming up to the end of the season as well. So it just shows that we can do it. I'm really happy with it. Definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've just seen a comment in the comments, Rocco, and I listened to Leeds that, but I must have missed this. Someone said you felt the referee had a good performance, but just what I do want to say for you though, and I said this on the watch along at the time, it takes a brave man at that minute in the game to give a penalty. I think it does, and so I do say props to him for having the balls to say no, that is a penalty when it was right at the death, really. But over the, I mean, yeah, it probably was pretty fair. It was more my annoyance with Preston. But what did you make to the game, Rocco? Before you tell us why you love the referee.
Yeah, well, I wasn't able to be at the game, which I think probably affected my judgment. I think if I was there, maybe I would have felt differently. But yeah, like the other lads, I was just thrilled with the win. I think it was a massive win. You know, drawing that game 1-1 and winning it 2-1 in the last minute, it's such a different feeling. And yeah, the reason we can grind these games out because like I also thought we were a bit off colour. You know, not at our best at all. I think Rutter didn't have a good game. Didn't think Bamford had a good game either. And yeah, so we just struggled to really get going. And yeah, just off colour. But when you've got Rodon at the back and Ampadu, you know, you've got a chance to win games because like they're always on it, like they're always on song. If you've got top defenders, then that's why the best teams grind out wins because they don't concede goals at the other end. And yeah, that's so important. But yeah, I mean the ref, like at the end of the day, I don't know. Well, yeah, he gave the penalty. A lot of refs wouldn't have given it, but then
no, they wouldn't.
Like, I mean, he was booking their players. Like, I don't really know what more he could have done. I think there was some situations that he didn't deal with. There was the handball outside the box that, yeah, he made mistakes, of course, but refs aren't going to make mistakes. And, like, you know, there was times where he was biased against Preston, like the Rodon booking in the first few seconds. That's an absolute nailed-on yellow card. And then he books their player a couple of minutes later. So it's not like it was just too early in the game or, you know, letting him off like one challenge. So, you know, I didn't think he was a cheat, and there's been a lot of refs that have come to Elland Road that I've thought are like literally cheating. They don't want us to win, so I never got that feeling. So that's why I'm willing to let him off, given that he gave the penalty at the end, especially.
Yeah, and listen, he gave out 10 yellow cards, and it weren't as if it was like 7 to Leeds and 3 the other way. Like, it was a bit of a mad game. Did he lose control potentially? There was one where Bamford gets a booking, and I'm not sure why. Rutter for diving when he didn't dive. You know, we had Hinchcliffe telling us that, he's not touched him, and when he clearly did. So
there was a Firpo one as well. Firpo got booked when he hadn't even given a free kick. Like, that was bloody mental. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's what I mean. And then you had obviously the goalkeeper coming out to meet James, and he handles outside the box. And I get that was difficult for him to see at the time, but yeah, it was up and down, wasn't it? But that's what you get in the Championship, I guess. That is what you get in the Championship. Luke, Rocco touched on, you know, Ampadu and him being at the back, and you've got Gruyev now, and I didn't expect him to make any changes going into this. Obviously, he might have to change it up on Wednesday, but I think he might go with the same 11 and then switch it up for Plymouth in the FA Cup, if I'm honest, because the Norwich game's arguably bigger, right? But I said this question before, and I'll ask it again. As good as Strout's been, and I'm not saying that, but it's going to be competition. It's going to be hard for him to get in. Because I thought Gruyev was great again. I thought Ampadu was great again. And just having Rodon and then Gruyev going in the centre of the back three alongside Ampadu, it offers us so much, I feel.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. I think it's it's something we didn't see much out of really in the first half of the season with Struijk and Roden in there. Whilst they've been quite solid, we didn't. Ampadu did it a little bit, but he probably played a little bit more further forward than we ever expected Struijk. Because we didn't expect Struijk to come into that midfield. Whereas with Ampadu and Gruev, they almost interchange sometimes. And when Ampadu brings it out from the back, we saw him do it actually in the play leading up to the corner. That led to the penalty at the end. He stepped out of defence, did Ampadu with the ball down the left hand side, and yeah, it works really, really well. And it's as you say, it's an alternate option and something that not a lot of teams have got they've not got the tools to be able to do something like that. So it is something a little bit different. It's something I'm enjoying seeing as well. If you're going to ask me, does Struijk come back in when he's fit? The answer is no for now. Until we don't put a performance in, I don't see how he can. I'm sort of assured that he's now probably vice captain. But ultimately, if it's working, you just don't change something that's working. And I've seen yesterday. I was reading a little bit of Twitter and I've watched your watch along back this morning. I've seen some comments. If we don't win this, it's Farke's fault. But there was nothing else additionally he could have done other than bring Pirro on, and then he scored. So all of a sudden, these people who are saying it's Farke's fault that we didn't win, other than saying it's Farke's fault we did win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just got because he brought Pirro on as a sub. So you can't win. I don't suppose. But yeah, I'm enjoying seeing lots of different options, and how much better do we look going forward with a left-footed left back. And it might only be Junior Firpo, and I know you're going to have to eat a bit of humble pie if he keeps his form. He's the highest assister in the league in January in 2024.
In 2024.
So he's the highest assister in the league, though, Joe. In the league, with 4 and 3. So yeah, look, I'm really enjoying seeing. I think probably been a little bit more of a chameleon, and has been able to change to different scenarios and actually have different options where we're quite easy to read first half of the season. We still got the results at home. It was away from home that we struggled, but we saw it at Cardiff and then in the performance the other day that actually when teams do want to spoil it a bit, then we've got some different options that we can try.
Yeah, no, I think you've hit the nail on the head. My next topic was the Firpo redemption arc, mate. I can't lie to you. It's all good. No, I think it's a great segue because obviously I even felt yesterday he defended pretty well as well, which is the first time I've seen him do that. You know, it was only blocks and whatnot, but normally he gets beat. So, you know, my only concern is what we do about January. Please still buy one, because if we are hoping that Firpo and Byram can get us through, I just know February the 2nd they'll break down. We'll play Bristol City on the Friday and they'll both break down, and then we'll be like, "What's going on?" You know what I mean? So we've been here before, Firpo, with foreshore tweets and all that sort of stuff. We've been here, so please just do that. But then you've got to try and convince someone to come in who's not going to be a starter, because at the minute you can't drop Firpo, right? You know, so. Rocco, you're nodding your head. What a redemption arc. He's improved, Danny Firpo. It has to be said. And I didn't think he had this. I can't lie.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that assist was amazing. That was like a brilliant cross that. To dig it out like that, it was pure quality. And, you know, every single manager we've had has like waxed lyrical about Firpo's quality on the ball. So obviously they've not all called him out for like being brainless when he's defending or whatever, but you know that's clearly an issue. He'll get away with it probably most weeks in the Championship, I suppose, and he did his job yesterday. But yeah, I'm not getting carried away. But you know, I really want him to do well. I want him to get better. Of course, there's loads of players that have proved me wrong, like Dan James, perfect example, Rutter as well. So hopefully Firpo can do it as well. But it's funny because you're talking about the transfer window, and I was looking at the squad and I realised actually the makeup of the defensive squad is identical to what Bielsa had when we got promoted. So he's got the back four, Gray, like being Ayling, and then you've got the two centre backs. You've got Ampadu, like Phillips, who can drop in. You've got Cooper, who's like Berardi. Then you've got the left back, Dallas. You know, that's Byram, who can play on the right and cover over there. And then you've got Firpo like Alioski, and that was basically it. But the problem is, obviously, Byram and Firpo are very injury prone. And also, right back for me, Gray, we can still improve on him. And
but
the problem is we'd need to buy a first team right back that will be in the team, improve the team, and like be our right back next season as well. And is that sort of player going to be available, or are we just going to get some loanee from the Premier League? Like getting someone in to cover, they're just going to be crap. Like look at Gruev, he's not played all season up until now. There's 13, how many games left? About 18 games or something. I don't really subscribe to just panicking and getting like bodies in as cover. I want us, if we can buy someone, for it to be someone that's going to actually improve us as a team, because that is an area we can improve, because Gray has struggled in certain away games.
100%. I agree with that sentiment. Anyone who comes in, apart from in the forward areas, has to be someone that's going to be starting. And then becomes the issue of convincing a Premier League loaning club that they'll get enough minutes. That's the problem that we'll face. You know, there's been a lot of talk of Ryan Giles. Now, apparently, according to sources, he prefers to move to Hull. But Hull have needed a left-back for seasons like us, and they'll say to him, you will play every week. He'll look at Leeds United and see Firpo playing there as well as he is, see Byram and think, I'm a little bit unsure. I'm going to go get game time. And that's the thing. That's why we've lost out on someone like Carvalho, which I'm okay with on the Carvalho thing. But when it comes to defensive areas, we need to. But I do have confidence in the 49ers. I do have confidence that they will still go out and get someone. I'm hoping anyway. But don't say that, Rocco. Joe won't have that about Gray. Listen, I love Gray, right? I don't know if you've seen my highlight reactions, but when he got walled up, I was going, he's 17! Leave him alone! I was like he was my son. But it is what it is. Kev, Rocco spoke about Dan James as well, because saying his opinion was wrong. Listen, 3 games into the season, I'm going, get the guy out. He can't finish. He can't pass. Everything's wrong. And I think, you know, props have to go to Farker as well as Daniel James himself as well, because he's coaching him into a top player. Like, he's got 10 goals, I think, now. Like, he's dwarfed his best season at Swansea already. And, you know, there's still a long way to go. He's vital, isn't he? And when you consider he's keeping the likes of Gnonto out the side, who looks like he's getting a new deal. So, you know, hats off to Dan James. He was my man of the match yesterday, Kev. I don't know how you felt in the ground, because you was at the game, weren't you?
Yeah, I agree. I thought Dan James was man of the match myself. On the Dan James subject, I actually thought he'd be a bit part. I thought it'd be Gnonto and Somerville that would start the season, and them two that would be firing out the blocks. They're the ones that will be playing the majority of the games, getting all the goals. And he's really surprised me. I think he's playing on the right, which is his favourite position, as well as being coached well. You can see he's a bit more calmer on the ball. He seems to know what he's doing a little bit more and a bit more composed. And we didn't see that when we were in the Premiership with Dan James, because he was just chasing everything like crazy, weren't he? Under Bielsa, playing up front, trying to do all the pressing for the entire team. And I'm just really impressed. I'm really happy that he's playing well, especially after the money that we spent on him. Coming from Man United, it was obviously coming across to one of the rivals. He's done really well, and I reckon he could keep going as well. I think he might get 15 to 17 goals this year. But he's adding a lot to his game, and he seems a bit more confident, I guess, because he knows he's going to play all the time now as well. So, Dan James, he was brilliant yesterday, and I hope he just carries it on.
Same. I think even the chip, I know it didn't go in, but Dan James earlier on in the season, or previous, lashes that out of the stadium. And it's the fact that he had the confidence to even attempt that. And it nearly went in, and you're thinking, all right, fair enough. You know, some coaches might say you should have tried to put it back post or whatever. But the fact that he had the confidence to try that, I thought it was great from James. And I really like him now. I can't lie to you, I like him. Whereas before, I was
he tried it the week before as well, didn't he? He tried it the week before, at the top of the crossbar as well. So he's full of confidence. He's doing really well, and I'm really pleased for him. Massive. Yeah,
there was one moment as well when the ball broke, and he just, like the parting of the Red Sea, just appeared out of nowhere, coming at pace, and I was like,
he played the ball into Bamford, and Bamford didn't get to it, and it sort of went in behind Bamford. He was off, wasn't he? That was the lead up to the chip, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing. Let's talk about Bamford now as well, because I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, he had a bad game" or whatever. Some people are in the mindset, if you're a striker, you don't score, then you've had a shit game. I felt, look, he was, without him in that in the pitch, in the positions that he occupies, we don't create half as much. Because on another day, we could have scored a few more. But I do just want to talk about that penalty moment because I put a snapshot of my face when I seen him have the ball. This fan's over in, I think it's Japan or Tokyo. Is Tokyo in Japan? I don't know. Geography is not my strong point. Yes, it is.
It's the capital, I think.
But everyone around the world, when they seen Bamford have that ball, even the bench shat themselves because they sent a message to Rodon to say, make sure he doesn't take that. But I think he knew what they were doing anyway. But, I mean, you were at the ground, Kev. I felt a little bit bad for him when the ball was passed to Pirro. Everyone went,
honestly, it was crazy. I was laughing my head off, really. All I heard was one of the loudest cheers of the game is when he's passed it across. I don't know if he was like playing with the fans or just having a laugh to try and sort the goalkeeper out. But when the whole crowd has started cheering when he's passing the ball, it was amazing, but also horrible at the same time. You think, they just don't trust him, do they? It was a really good moment, but yeah, I was laughing my head off when it happened. It was so good.
Yeah, it was. What were your reaction, Rocco, when you seen him with the ball under his side?
God, well, yeah, I was watching on telly, so like I didn't see him with the ball when they were showing the replays, and in my head I was trying to work out whether there was any way they were going to give it to Bamford, like thinking, well, he scored 3 and 3, he's probably going to want it. Somerville's missed his last one, and I'm trying to do all this maths in my head, and I work it all out, and then I see him with the ball. And I just couldn't believe it. But then, yeah, I was like so relieved, obviously, when he passed it to Pirro. And it's good to see as well, because I think if he'd have taken that, I mean, even if he'd have scored, I think I'd have still been a bit pissed off with him, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it had to be Pirro. So thank God, sanity prevailed.
Yeah. Luke, obviously, give me your reaction. But to be fair, Bamford afterwards, the way that he celebrated that goal as well, that again shows the I guess the tight-knitness of the group again, you know what I mean? I genuinely feel the group as a whole, if you look at the way the club has reacted to Jadon Anthony and him being on the bench and everyone rallying around him, and, we're getting a great group again, and Bamford's a part of that, Luke.
Yeah, well, I think you look back to the earlier on in the season when he took the ball, was it Stoke? And he took the ball and took the penalty. We're quite early in the season. He was under a lot of pressure, Bamford, at the time. He wasn't starting. He wasn't confident. Pirro was, Rutter was the number 9 at the time. He wasn't getting a look in realistically. He was getting 10, 15 minutes here and there, just come back from injury. And I think, as you say there, his reaction to the goal and actually standing there with the ball in his hand, face to face with the goalkeeper, and just taking it all. And he was almost giving it back. And then the face he pulled when he turned around and passed the ball to Pirro was just like, got you. It was a real good moment of, and as you say, the camaraderie between the lads it's frightening how much he's changed actually compared to, and you think of the absolute mess that Farke inherited at the start of the season, and the players wanting to leave and the situation we were in back then. It's delightful. It is really nice to see them actually playing for each other and enjoying it. And when you said Archie Gray got pushed in by Brady into the board, and you've got Rutter and everybody running in and supporting a young kid, it's really nice to see. And it's what you expect from a Leeds United side. So more than happy. I did shit myself though, I'll be honest, when Bamford had the ball in his hand. Not even one foot. I was like, I couldn't even look. And then I heard, Pirro's taking it now. I was like, fucking great. We've got this. It's nice to have, and I think that's something that. So again, it's an additional option we've got, is somebody like Pirro to come on and do something like that towards the end of the game. Bamford would have missed that yesterday. I promise you, he would have missed it if he take that penalty. And then you've got to deal with him. He's public enemy number 1 again. He's loses his confidence. We lose that centrepiece up front who's making the runs and holding the ball up well and just being a bit of a pest to the centre backs. So fantastic, great move all around. Great coaching by Farke. Great. Nice to see Paddy happy as well, not to actually take a penalty and for it to be scored.
100%, because I think at times last season, I don't know if it was a byproduct of the leadership group and all that, they seem to sometimes be a little bit of a certain standing within the squad
hierarchy,
at times, and hierarchy definitely, and hands throwing and all that sort of stuff. And I just don't think that'll fly with Farke at all, So that's a positive. And speaking of the summer, obviously a player that that was a bit of a shit during the summer and hasn't really hit the heights that we expected him to, which could be a byproduct of his behaviour in the summer, was Wilfried Gnonto. Now, I'm going to come to you, Rocco. New deal. Surprised? Shocked? I know I was when I seen it. I was like, oh, wow. And how do you feel about it? Does he deserve it? Like, see, he's got one till 2027 anyway, so probably just giving him a couple more years. But how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I suppose I am surprised, but like James from our podcast, he tweeted saying like, are the club just trying to sort of draw a line under it one way or another, call his bluff almost, give him this contract, sign it or leave sort of thing. It's a hard one, isn't it? Because he's been a complete prick in the summer, and then he's had no impact at all. Like fair enough, he's been no trouble, and clearly he's like massive mates with Somerville. I'd like to see him given a run in the team. He's not had a chance, so you can't really slag him off. I mean, he's not had any impact from the bench, which is disappointing, but like you can't really hold it against him. And I think he's worked hard. I think when he played against Peterborough, he ran his socks off for that 90 minutes. So no problem there. If it happens, then good, I suppose, because he is potentially a great player. But equally, if we'd have sold him for 20 million, I'd have been quite pleased with that as well. So see if he signs it first and then go from there. If he signs it, I'll be happy. And fair play, all is forgiven sort of thing, and hope he recaptures his best form.
Yeah, and Kev, this could be the catalyst for it, right? Like Rocco said there about drawing a line under it. If he gets a new deal, pictures, fans, new deal, Pam, and then it has sort of like just got rid of what happened in the summer, and it's like a fresh footing, and maybe it might be the kick on that he needs for the second half of the season, because we're going to need these players, right?
Definitely. I'm a big Wilfried Gnonto fan. I've always thought he's got something about him that's different to the rest of the team. I just think all the stuff that's happened with the strike, and he had a lot of injuries as well. He was actually playing quite well, especially up to the Ipswich game when we beat them. And then he's had a few injuries on international duty and come back. He hasn't been able to get back in the team. But I do think Rocco's right. I think this will be a line in the sand thing. He either signs it or he's off. But I do think, as we're talking about the camaraderie in the squad, one of the reasons they're probably doing it now is because everybody seems to be getting on well. And maybe it's another thing because he's mates with Somerville, that it's a byproduct of that. But I do think he deserves a run in the team. But who's he going to come in for, in my eyes? I'd like to keep him to stay. And I do think he probably could play in the 10 for us as well if we ever needed him to. Because he's a powerful runner with the ball, and he can run from deep just as good as Somerville can sometimes too. So, yeah, I'd like to see what happens with him. But I still can't see him getting into the side anytime soon. And Farker doesn't change. When he was at Norwich, he played the same team all through the Christmas period as well. And he's doing the same here. So, I'd like him to get a run, but I just don't know where it's going to come from.
Yeah, it's true. But we'd have all said that about Gruyev. I think the thing is, what Gnonto's failed to do, what Gruyev has done, is grab this chance by the balls and said, I'm not giving up this shirt now. Because there was no way, after Gruyev's performance, that you could then say to him, right, mate, you're now spending time on the bench. And he's kept his place. Luke, you were like me in the summer, and I think a lot of Leeds fans, but listen, football fans are fickle, but it were like, no, I'm done with him. Get him in the sea. Don't want to see him in a Leeds shirt again. But how do you feel about the new deal, mate? Because there's still some fans out there that are like, what do I don't deserve it? Get him gone, etc. So where's your emotions just on the new deal?
Yeah, I think first of all, props to Farker and how he's managed him, because he made him train on his own. One sec, is that JT? Give him a little kiss in the way as he does all everyone else. I think props to Farker for his man management of Wilfried Gnonto, first of all. But I don't think I was that shocked about this new deal, I think he's probably one of the lower earners because he was brought in on a youth contract. He's obviously played international football for Italy since then. He's likely going to have some clause inserted into that if we don't get promoted to allow him to go at the end of the season. And providing we're happy with that figure and that amount, and he's happy with that release clause, if we weren't to be promoted, then I think it's a win-win. I don't think it actually makes all that much difference. I just think it's you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You perform for us up until the end of the season. If we don't, you help us get promoted, then so be it. You'll be playing Premier League football with us next year. If we don't, then there's a 30 million or 25 million pound clause in there saying that we'll let you go and do your thing wherever you want in the world. So yeah, not that surprising really, if I'm honest with you. Probably just gonna increase his salary a little bit to be in line with other players in the squad that are on a decent crack. So hopefully he signs it and we start seeing a little bit more of the impact that we got from him last season, because I don't think I mean, you could probably count it on one hand the amount of good games he's had this year, or made any sort of impact when he's had the chance. But again, Bamford weren't making much of an impact with 15-20 minutes. You put him in from the start, and he was a different player. So not overly shocked. I'm a bit sort of neutral with it really. I think does he deserve it? Possibly, because he to line up with the other players in the squad, but other than that, it's up to him to earn that place in the team. And as Kev says, you can't drop either Somerville or Dan James on current form. So be it. I think, and do you know what? JT has put a great comment, to be fair. Said a focused Gnonto without any distraction is a problem for any team. And again, it comes back to that point of drawing a line under it. And hopefully second half of the season, we'll see a new Gnonto. Because obviously it's such a quick turnaround, in less than 48 hours time, we play Norwich City. Rocco, do you expect any changes going into this? I know we played Sunday. I know previously said this 4 days, they should be able to play, etc. in previous press conferences and stuff. Do you expect him to make any changes for this, or do you think he'll wait for Plymouth at the weekend for that?
Yeah, I do. I think it'll be the same team definitely, and then Plymouth he'll make the changes. I can't see any changes at all. I don't even. There's no question marks for me. I mean, Byram obviously would be the only one potentially that could come in, either for Firpo or maybe Gray. But it just feels like he'll just wait for Plymouth and do it in the cup. I don't see, unless there's any niggling injuries. I think he'll go same again, definitely. Yeah.
Luke, are you nervous about this one? Because Norwich have hit a bit of form. They drew with Southampton, beat Hull, beat West Brom. There's 3 teams that are in and around the top 6, and now they play us after they've been shite, and there was talk of Wagner getting the sack, etc. But that's 3 very good results all told. So I'm a little bit nervous about it. I do think we'll at least get a point, but ideally we can't afford this anymore. We need to continue to win games. As we said, there's a chance that we could be second by the time February 2nd comes around if we beat Norwich and then Bristol City on the Friday. So it's a must-win game for Leeds, I think, even at this stage, because we've got to start closing that gap. But where do you stand on it? Would you want changes with it being a short turnaround? I don't know what.
I'm very much don't change what's broken. And when we're playing relatively well, I mean, albeit against Preston, probably one of the poorer performances of late, since probably the Christmas period. Actually, I don't think we played that bad. I just think we almost read their script and played a little bit sloppy and sort of played to Preston's sort of strengths, if you like.
Just to piggyback on the back of that though, Preston, I think it was the most fouls recorded in the Championship this season, and that never's going to help Leeds United's flow, is it, in a game, and the amount of throw-ins, etc. It just breaks it up.
Absolutely. I think I've probably been slightly unfair with saying it was a poor performance. I just don't think it was a great performance like we'd seen probably for the 3 or 4 games. 3 games before, 3-0 won it before. I think Norwich will be in for a bit of a shock come Wednesday. I think they've had some good performances of late, but I went down there to their place. They were half decent, but I don't think they'll have the stones to come up here on a Wednesday night. And it's not a nice drive up. It's a shit away day for them for a midweek fixture, to be honest. I just think we'll continue our home form. The one thing that does worry me about midweek fixtures at Ellen Road is that the atmosphere does drop a few gears, and And yeah, you've got very, very few people on the piss on a Wednesday night, and the atmosphere does suffer as a consequence of that. And I think the atmosphere does play a big part in our performances at home. So I still fancy us for the win, mate, quite comfortably. But yeah, I'm more worried actually about Bristol away.
Yeah, I suppose. Kev, I think Norwich can. Danny Rumsey made the comment. I guess Norwich will come and have a go, won't they? They've got some decent players, Sarah, Johnny Roy, etc. So that could then mean, Kev, that we will get more chances on the counter, as we've seen against them when we beat them 3-2 after being 2-0 down.
I'm more worried about the games the teams like Preston. I think this game might be an easier game for us because they're going to come at us. I've watched them a little bit recently, and Rowe and is it Sarah, the Brazilian guy? Them two are really good. But I think if the team's going to come to Ellen Road and come and try us, we're gonna beat them. I worry again. It's just the lesser teams that are going to do the low blocks more than they do the teams like Norwich. I think we're actually going to blow them out of the water. I think we might beat them 3-0. To be honest with you, I've got a good feeling about this. I'll
take it. I'll take another 3-0 for sure. Definitely, we'll take that, mate. Boys, who's like your just thinking about the game yesterday and the season so far? I think there's a lot of players that sort of like go under the radar a little bit that maybe don't get the flowers that they deserve. Rocco, who would be your like unsung hero of the season so far?
It's a tough one because there's a few candidates, but it depends who you would class as being unsung. I mean, I feel like maybe even Ampadu now, like the last few weeks, I think he's really come back really strong and come into a defence that needed a really calm and strong head in there next to Rodon, in a time when we've got Struijk injured. And he's been magnificent. Like Mellier's basically had nothing to do. Well, the goalkeeper, whoever it has been, like all year, probably been forced into 3 or 4 saves in all the matches. So I think he was my man of the match on Saturday. I thought it really helps, like keeping the tempo going and stuff. And I think Ampadu's been an amazing signing. But I mean, like Rodon as well. Because if you can class him as unsung, like he's not one of the forwards scoring goals every week, of course. Yeah. But like for me, he's my player of the season. Like he's just an absolute rock. I love him. I think he's been nearly perfect for us. I can't talk highly enough of him. I mean, fair enough. Like he's not Ben White. Like I know.
I was just going to ask you Ben White or Joe Rodon.
Because he's not a silky, but like he's more of a bastard, that's for sure. And I love it. I love him. I love that side of him, and I love that side of a defender's game. He loves to defend and he loves to lead as well. So he'll do for me. I love Rodon.
Yeah. He's great, isn't he? He's great. What would you pay for him in the summer? What's the max you'll pay for him, Rocco? Because obviously we got priced out of Ben White. I do think the 49ers won't let people take the piss out of him and leave. You might try to do that. We turned down 15 million in the summer. We took him on loan. Levy's going to want more than that now, based on his performances, because there'll be suitors for him. So what's the max you pay for Rodon?
I mean, to be honest, if they ended up charging 35 million, I think I'd want to go to
would you take?
Like honestly, like because we know what we're getting from him. Like rather than go and buy a Llorente or someone from Europe, or it sounds mad. Because 35 million, they'll be having our pants down. Obviously, it should probably be 20, and they might stretch us to 25. But I do not want to let that opportunity pass and have to go out and sign another rock at the back. Like it needs to be ours.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think 25 million is probably going to do it for us, hopefully anyway. But it all depends on if we go up. Because if we don't go up, I think someone like a Leicester and or Southampton who've got centre backs on loan from the likes of City probably say, well, we'll take him. You know what I mean? He's been that good. Luke, who would be your unsung hero, mate, just on the season so far? Because there is a few that don't get a mention, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, again, what do you class as unsung? I think probably somebody who doesn't score much would obviously be Ampadu, but I think it's probably between two who haven't had much of a mention. It's Pascal Struijk and Glenn Kamara. I think they've both been really, really good this season.
Glenn never gets mentioned, by the way, Luke, ever. Glenn never, ever gets mentioned.
But he does do a lot. You watch him; he's non-stop. He is non-stop. He's literally. He reminds. I mean, don't clip this because he's nowhere near as good. But he's very much like a Yaya Toure type for what he did at City with what he does, with how he wins the ball. But the only thing
That's
he can't
definitely
do is
getting clipped up.
But he does. I mean, just the way he has the ball at his feet, the way he wins the ball back, and he uses his body. He's just got that. He's just got that sort of type about him for me. Look, he's never going to reach the heights of Yaya Toure, for God's sake. Let's be honest and be realistic about it. But he just reminds me of that type of player. And I think he took him out of our team. Now you would see a Glenn Kamara-sized hole in there. So look, an absolute steal when you consider what we paid for both of him and Ampadu. I think it was 12 million for the pair of them before the season. Absolute bargains. But Pascal, I think, has been the one who's really stepped up for me, and captained the squad for the majority of the season. And I've been asked to do a different job to that he's really ever been asked to do, which is actually be a centre back. He's played left back under Marcelo. He was a no-nonsense defender, shall we say, under Jesse Marsh when he got the chance. But now he's been asked to actually carry the ball out and make some progressive yards with the ball. And he's shown he can do that as well. He's fully capable. So yeah, one of those two for me is the unsung heroes.
Yeah, 100%. Any special mentions for you, Kev?
I was going to say Pascal or Glenn Kamara myself too. Glenn Kamara's ball carrying ability is good. Gets in the tackles, covers a lot of ground. He's really calm on the ball. He seems to do that same spin around pirouette that he does all the time as well. And he seems to always find space. He can find space in Gemma. What's that? Never mind. Gemma Collins' armpit. He's that good, that's what I mean. He's really good. But yeah,
I was like, where are you going with that? I shit myself. I was like, no.
Nah, he's got some about him. He didn't have his best game yesterday. I thought he's probably one of his worst games that he played was yesterday, and he lost the ball a lot. But Glenn Kamara and Pascal Strike for me been the unsung heroes because Glenn Kamara's not going to score a goal, is he? His shooting's terrible, but his passing's really good. So yeah, them two for me. Yeah, I'll agree with Luke.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it Farker, and the only reason I say that is because I'm sick of the criticism from him, from quite a large section of the fan base. For what reason I do not know, because he binned off an absolute div in Spence, and these people think Spence is the best thing since sliced bread. Who, by the way, played 90 minutes for Genoa yesterday. Guess where? Left wing back. I wonder if their fans are asking for the manager to be sacked and stuff immediately. I think for me, Daniel Farke, I'm a massive fan of his. I think he's cool as all. You see them goal reactions yesterday. He just comes into the picture, cool as, telling everyone to calm down and whatnot. So yeah, I think he's getting a lot right. And if it weren't for the top two being as good as they were, he'd be getting some praises like you would not believe. We're closing in. He's always said as well, like, wait till April. And like I said, in 2 games' time, we could be in second. I'm sick of seeing all these different championship sites saying, oh, well, who's going to go up out of these two? No mention of these. And I like that, but I'm also annoyed by it. Do you know what I mean? Because we'll just nip in there and get top 2. I'm still confident we can do that. Few more additions and I think we'll be good to go. But yeah, big shout out to Farke. Listen, he's not exempt from criticism. Still question marks over the Premier League, but I'm just surprised at the amount of criticism he gets. I don't understand it, if I'm honest. But we'll wait and see. Just to finish up, folks, I want to know from you. Obviously, we're now about 10 days out from, no, more than that, 8, 30, 9, 10 days away from the transfer window shutting. Rocker, how many do you think we'll get in?
I'm going to say 1. I think there'll be 1 and people will be really pissed off, but because it could still be 0. But yeah, I think we will get 1. If we did get 1, for me, it'd be a toss-up between left or right back. I don't know which one we need more. If we get both, then fantastic. But yeah, I'll go with 1.
Yeah, no, fair. Someone's just saying there that Maresca's been speaking about Leeds again in his interview. Why? I do not know. I don't know what he's chatting shit about. But I had a quick look on Twitter there, but then someone's just reminded us that again, look what Leeds have done to Ipswich. We scored 8 goals past them, by the way, but he's no mention. It's all about McKenna, Maresco, and Martin. Do you know what I mean? No mention of Farke, but it is what it is. Sorry, I'm not bitter at all. So you said 1. You think we'll get 1, Rocco? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Kev?
I'd like 2. I'd like a left back and a right back. But if we're only going to bring in 1 out of the people that have been mentioned, I'd take Ben Godfrey all day. If it was only going to be 1 player, I'd take him, because I do worry if Joe Rodon had something happen to him and he can play right back and at centre back, he'd be a great addition, I think. And he knows Farke's system as well. Fit straight in. It'd be a perfect addition for me.
Be great if I just think I can't see it happening. It's a lot of money and all that sort of stuff, but you never know if it was on loan. But we'll wait and see. Luke, what do you reckon?
I don't know, mate. To be honest with you, I think we certainly need some stability at left back and right back. Obviously, we can't be relying on Sam Byron and Junior Firpo to make it both to the end of the season. So my preference would probably be a left back, and I still stand by that. I think we need an older head in midfield and to be able to replace Rutter when he's tired or when he's not been as effective. For instance, the game yesterday, I thought Rutter, I think he still got man of the match, didn't he? According to most channels, but I thought he was quite ineffective against Preston because he wasn't unlocking, he just didn't work, which obviously in turn made Paddy look relatively poor on the back of that as well. So I still feel bringing an experienced 10 in would see us through to the end of the season. Somebody just to change the game up a little bit. I keep using Pablo as a template, but somebody like that.
Yeah. No, I think we're in the definite mix for one, with that Benson and David Brooks both being linked. So they could add something off the bench. It's going to be off the bench, though. You can't guarantee minutes, can you? So I think we'll get a fullback. I do. I just think they might go right. I don't. Actually, the more I think, I'm like, no. Farke might go. No, we'll be all right. I don't know. We'll wait and see, because just know Paul Byron will break down. We'll have to wait and see. But listen, folks, we will leave it there. It's been a great show as always. It's been great to have Rocco back, coming in from the hotel room in Hull. It's great to have Luke on as always, and obviously a great debut from Kev as well. We'll have back for sure. Listen, smash a like on the video, folks. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so we'll have something at some point depending on the transfer news. And then, of course, it's game day Wednesday night, where hopefully we'll pick up another 3 points. But thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you in a bit, folks. Bye-bye now. Enjoy your evening.